Hey guys, welcome back to Lunar Linux. Today I'm going to walk through installing Fedora KDE onto physical hardware. So, first and foremost, I need to explain where we are right now. So, I am inside of a virtual machine that I have created um, where I have attached a USB device to it. The T5 itself is a USB-C device and you can pass it through to the VM. So, I've attached this to it and I've booted up the VM, and right now we're sitting on the grub screen for the live Fedora image. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit test and start, and it should boot up this image, and then we can start laying it down onto the physical hardware. So I had Fedora GNOME installed. I just deleted that. I'm gonna lay down KDE. I like KDE better than GNOME, and I got tired of trying to fuddle my way through using using GNOME and trying to get extensions to make it a little bit better. But I was like, no, okay, I'm just gonna install KDE and have a functioning taskbar out of the box. All right, it's okay to use this media. Thank you. Will you boot it, please? Brand? Thank you. I'm not sure what it was doing right there. Okay, here we go. So, aha. Now Fedora packages VirtualBox drivers in here with it, so it gets to be nice and full screen from the get-go, which will be good for you guys. It'll help you guys see a lot easier. So, we're going to need an app called gparted. We're going to pull it down. So, we're in Fedora. Fedora is based on Red Hat, and it uses the DNF package manager. So when we want to install an app, it's sudo as the super user using the DNF package manager. We want to install the app name. So we're going to install gparted. It's going to go ahead and check all the things, all the things, all the things, pulling all of these repos, checking for updates, and gparted. Hello. So now that we have gparted, we can go ahead and run it. You can run it graphically as well through the launcher. Should be in here under system gparted. Yep. Okay, and so here's that dev SDA. So this is a hard drive device over USB that's been passed to the VM. And so here is the Kubuntu install that I used during the KDE Kubuntu VM tutorial. So this is the OS that VM is running in. So we have 200.5 gigabytes right here where I want to throw down uh, Fedora KDE. So I'm going to need a new partition that is half, oops, hey, it's working on it. Numlock is being funny. Okay, it's going to be half a gig. So these are in megabytes, so there are 1024 megabytes in a gigabyte. So that's why before when I put in like 8 gig of memory on the VM, for example, you put 8192. So you take 1024 and you multiply it by the number you want to get actual gigabytes. So this new size, we want a 512 partition. It's going to be the Fedora's EFI partition. So an EFI partition is where the bootloader goes so that when you have a UEFI BIOS, it'll scan all the hard drives, it'll find this partition, it'll have Fedora will know, okay, hey, I'm going to try to put my boot files here, and then it can actually boot up on the OS. So now this is just going to be Fedora, and I'm going to make this XFS, the XFS journaling system. So because this is an EN, actually, let's create them first. We need to create them first. So we're going to hit apply. It's going to lay those down. And it is having so much fun mounting and unmounting things. That was fun. Okay, now everything's mounted. So because this is an EFI partition, we need it to be flagged as boot and ESP so that it knows, hey, these are the disks that I, or not, well, sorry, disks because it's popping up. Are you quite done? Please? Thank you. So because this is boot ESP, it'll know it's an EFI partition, although I'm probably still going to have to reformat it. I'm just setting this up so that you guys can see how this goes. And I'm actually going to unflag um, this as an EFI right now so that it just doesn't get touched. Fedora will just leave it alone because I don't want any Fedora stuff on Ubuntu's EFI partition. So that should all be good to go for me to close gparted and open the Fedora installer, which looks different than the Ubuntu installer. This is an installer called Anaconda, and it looks a little bit like this. So we are in English, so we're just going to keep on moving. Now, I'm going to go ahead and make the user first. So we want our name, it'll make the username same as before. We want our user to be an admin, and I do want the password in order to log in. So we'll go ahead and put that password in here. Cool. Then we're going to hit done, and it'll do that. And the root account gets disabled because I said that this is an administrator, so we don't need to worry about making a separate root account because we can do anything as an admin here. And now we're going to go ahead and say here, select, if you have a ton of hard drives, they'll all show up here. You pick which ones you want Fedora to look at. And then I want to use this GUI installer. So I'm going to hit that and hit done, and it should open up the Blivit GUI interface here. Awesome. So it sees this already as an EFI, but it probably won't let me use it unless I format it because Fedora is silly like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and format it as a EFI system partition right off the bat. And EFI system partitions are mounted in /boot/EFI. That's where the OS needs that partition to be, and it knows where that is, and it knows to put its bootloader stuff there. This is going to be root, and so we can say I also want this to be an XFS journaling system. We want it to be Fedora label, and you're mounted in root. So format that, and then I should be able to hit done. It'll say hello, and then okay, so we're getting rid of those things and creating those things, and that should be all good to go. So I'm going to hit accept. It's going to say I'm happy, and I'm going to hit begin installation, and now we just wait for it to finish installing, and it's going to keep spazzing around with the disks. Okay, I'll see you guys when this is done. Okay, so didn't take too long. Now this is done. I'm going to hit finish installation. Wow. And then it's done. So I just need to hit restart, and we're gonna reboot this machine, and maybe I can get the disk out in time. Here we go. Okay, so Fedora. I do not know how I'm going to get NVIDIA drivers on this thing, so that's something I'm going to have to figure out because I know in the workstation with GNOME edition. Oh, maybe I'll get it. Maybe I'll get it then, because this is what I was gonna say. It brings up in this initial setup screen. Are you supposed to be showing me more than I'm seeing? Oh, that's always fun. So I don't know what that was, but we're up now. Hi. Okay, that's not gonna be a problem for long. I'm gonna switch to X11 once I get a video going. Okay, so yes, I have no idea how to get NVIDIA drivers here because, well, actually, I shouldn't say I have no idea. I just don't feel like adding the RPM. But I should. I was kind of hoping it would be here. Hi. Add source. That's Flatpak. Okay. So we need to add RPM Fusion. We're gonna patch this first and then add RPM Fusion. Or do it at the same time. Add RPM Fusion repo. So the RPM Fusion repo is actually, you know what? You know what? We're gonna do a manual. We're gonna do a manual install of NVIDIA drivers. while we wait here. So in order to do that, we go to drivers here. We go to GeForce. Should be the same regardless of what we put in here. Production branch would be good. Search. This should be, yep, that's the newest version. Hit download on that guy and it'll start hopefully pulling it down, but the browser is certainly busy. Don't show that again. This is the iBus panel. In case you're wondering why this is floating here, it's it's the iBus panel, and I'm going to change this setting to do not show on the system tray, but I don't think that stops it. So I'm also going to go in here to configure system tray, entry, iBus panel, and just say he's always hidden, and so then he'll be up here. I don't know why he doesn't have an icon. Are you downloading like at all, or do I need to actually hit this? It wasn't downloading this whole time. I'm sure everyone was yelling at me. Excellent. I know there are updates, you just won't show them to me. But whenever you feel like showing them to me, I will happily click download. So close. Awesome. Okay. So that is done. I'm gonna change that to be like that. Downloads. This needs to be executable. All right, buddy. I need you to. Okay. If he's not gonna do it graphically, I'm gonna go ahead and just do it with the terminal because I actually just I really want to see if I can get NVIDIA drivers working on this because I tried to do manual NVIDIA drivers on the previous Fedora installation and it was a little bit of a struggle doing it myself. It didn't seem to want to work in the way it did on Fedora 34, but last time I was doing it, I believe it was Fedora 34, maybe 33. Hi, 1.1 gig. That's a lot of updates. All right, I'm gonna patch this, and I'm gonna try to get to a point where I can start doing NVIDIA driver installs. Okay, hi guys, welcome back. It's been a bit since I recorded that last clip that you guys would have seen when I was installing Fedora onto my T5 using a VM. We are now out of the VM, we're booted up, and when I left you guys, I was trying to figure out how to get NVIDIA drivers because I cannot screen record without having NVIDIA drivers because software encoding is just not good at all. So I have it working, and I'm gonna walk you guys what I did to install NVIDIA drivers. And so in order to do that, I needed something called the RPM Fusion, which is a here I'll read this here. RPM Fusion provides software that the Fedora project or Red Hat doesn't want to ship. So this is where you can go for a community managed packages such as the NVIDIA driver, right? So the NVIDIA driver is part of their, if I say enable RPM Fusion, it's part of their non-free, which does not mean you have to pay for it. It just means that they're, I believe it means that it is proprietary software. RPM Fusion non-free meaning. It's not open source, right? Okay. So yeah, the non-free RPM Fusion libraries have non-open source software such as NVIDIA's proprietary driver, the Steam client, and so on and so forth. So in order to get the NVIDIA driver, I clicked on this here. It's gonna, yep, it's an RPM, which means it can install packages. That's why I gave that warning. It's gonna download that. So you go here, you go to the non-release, yeah, so RPM Fusion non-free release 36. This is what we just downloaded. Open it with Discover, and it'll have an install button up here, right? So you click that, and it installs that repository. And then at that point, if you do a DNF update, so if you update your package manager, if I could type my password in, it would help. It's going to do that. It was already updated. The only thing I hadn't updated was the Chrome thing because I actually just installed that. And then the package is called NVIDIA-driver, and that will pull down, that will pull down all the packages, this and all of its dependencies that you need to run the NVIDIA driver. So you install that, you reboot, and you should be good to go with NVIDIA drivers. No, 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 exit. Okay, so once you have NVIDIA drivers on your system, or once like if you're running on a Intel graphics card, either onboard or if you have ARC somehow, um, Mesa drivers are shipped with Linux on your Intel UHD graphics, whatever. If it's on board your processor, it'll work great out of the box. It should be no problem at all. If you have AMD, you can go to AMD's website, pull down their driver. AMD drivers also should ship like with the OS in the same way that Nouveau's driver does. So there is a open source NVIDIA driver called Nouveau. It doesn't work as well, so which is why it's preferable to get the proprietary one. But there should be something like that. I believe there's something like that for AMD. So once you have drivers, you can just start tinkering around. So before I call this video, I'm going to show you guys how to get applications like Chrome on to your system here. So if I go to Google Chrome, if I search Google Chrome and here, so if an application is packaged for Linux in a way that you can download and install it similar to Windows, right, like an executable or a Microsoft installer file, a deb package is packaged for Debian and Ubuntu. And this is, I would say this is the more common thing, right? So if a development group is going to make an application and package it for Linux on top of the other system or OSs they're packaging it for, it's more likely it'll be a deb file. Some will also have an RPM. Chrome does have an RPM, which is nice. So you just click here, accept and install, and that'll pull down this Google Chrome RPM, and you do the exact same thing we did here, where you just open with Discover, you click install, and boom, now you have Chrome on your system. So you can do that with any app that has an RPM. And at that point, you can just play around with the OS, install more applications, fiddle around with it. I'm gonna do a video later where I go into a little bit more of how to install certain things and to get it. I plan to set both my Kubuntu install and my Fedora install up for gaming. So I'm going to install Minecraft, I'm going to install Steam, I'm going to install Discord, and I will walk you guys through that. But as for this Fedora install, this is now installed and ready to rock and roll. So I'm going to let you guys go here. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions, please throw them in the comments. See you guys later.